Slight delay while they roll up those mats before we get started. Chris Dickerson's going to do his part to try and help him out.
Well, they got mats out there in the field for? That doesn't make any sense. I bet they fell off of the batting cage as they were taking it out and maybe taking it around the tunnel. The grounds crew are now coming out to grab them.
How'd you like to have to carry one of those, cowboy, and run? That thing draped around you like a towel.
Not with a tie and not in cowboy boots. So my answer would be no, I wouldn't like to do that.
Kaz Matsui will lead things off. A .220 batter with a home run and 6 knocked in. Cueto going to work. And a first pitch strike in his game is underway. Johnny just turned 23 years old back in February. And like many young pitchers, he had outstanding games. He had very poor games a year ago. Really, the Astros had never seen him pitch like Cueto is capable of pitching yet. 4 starts last year, 1 this year, and he really struggled with command. You may remember back on the 17th down in Houston. In a 2-1 game, that was a game against Oswald. He only lasted 4 2/3 innings, gave up the 1 run, but he walked 6 batters in that game, and he's never beaten Houston yet in his career.
Every young pitcher gets excited. The adrenaline starts pumping. Your chest starts heaving. You want to throw the ball before you ever get it back from the catcher. You just got to slow down.
Still a ball and 2 strikes on Matsui, to be followed by Michael Bourne and then Lance Berkman. Astros just wrapped up a 10-game homestand, which they won 4 of the 10 games. They were out hit by the opposition by more than double, 87-43 in that ballpark. And there is strike 3 called.
You see Johnny Cueto making pitches like this, especially late in the count. You know you're going to have a good ball game from the young right-hander. It has been his true self that he would get 2 strikes on the batter and then throw the ball all over the place. Next thing you know, it's 3-2, and the guy gets a hit or he walks it.
Now the speedy Michael Bourne, a .293 batter. That one paints the inside corner. For strike 1, a Bourne, a home run, 4 runs batted in, and has 4 stolen bases this year.
Tom Cecil Cooper looks like he's kind of flopped up their lineup a little bit. Tejada was hitting in this 2nd spot. Michael Bourne was hitting down in the 7th or 8th spot. Now he's got Tejada hitting behind Carlos Lee.
Pulled foul, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
And he's got a little extra speed with Michael Bourne in the top of this order.
It is amazing, a pitcher with Cueto's stuff, and most will tell you it's the best pure stuff on this Red staff, a very, very good staff. But these Astro hitters in their lineup tonight collectively have a .350 batting average against Johnny Cueto. Go figure. He got ahead Matsui 1-2. Put him away. And that one fouled away. We'll do it again at a ball and 2 strikes.
I really think, Tom, that we're starting to see a young pitcher come of age right in front of our faces. We saw Volquez last year do the same exact thing, surprised everybody in both leagues with what he was able to do. And I think we're seeing Johnny Cueto start to really feel like not only that he's good, but that he belongs here and he can be successful.
Told you the Astros have won 9 straight games in this ballpark. That is the longest active road win streak by any team against any opponent in baseball. That one slapped into left field, and this will be a 1-out double for Michael Bourne.
This is why Michael Bourne is hitting in the top of the order. A fastball down and away. Cueto didn't quite get it down as low as the ball to Matsui. And instead of ending up with a strikeout, he ends up with a double down the left field line.
Well, here comes Lance Berkman. He has hit 19 home runs at Great American Ballpark, the most home runs by an opponent since this ballpark opened in 2003. And in his career against the Reds, he has clubbed 45 home runs, with a career batting average, by the way, in this park of over 360. And yet here he comes into this series, and it's hard to believe that Lance Berkman has just 11 hits this year in 66 at bats. 2-0. Of course, hitting 2-0, a lot of guys are going to hit 360 if you're hitting in that count, and it seems like every time he bats in his ballpark, it's 2-0 and 3-1.
See Berkman talking to home plate umpire on Brian O'Nora, trying to figure out, is that the outside corner or is there further to go?
That's a strike to even the count at 2-2 on Berkman. Berkman is switch hitter, as many of you know, and so far this year he has not hit from either side of the plate. And he hope it stays that way for the next 3 days and then move along. 2-2 pitch, just off the corner.
That's 2 pitches there, the first pitch and that last pitch. It did not miss by much. A fastball inside to start the at bat against Berkman, and then that pitch there. See how Cueto reacts to that.
Runner at second, one away, and it's ball 4 inside to Berkman. Well, the Astros knocking on the door after the first batter was retired. A double by Bourne, a walk to Berkman, and here comes Carlos Lee.
I was really impressed with this guy down in Houston, Tom. Flat bat, a lot of strength, but not just the fact that he made solid contact. He has a much quicker bat than what I remember him having. He was getting the fastballs that were inside with some high velocity and spinning on them.
Ball 1 away. Good numbers for Lee, like many of these Astros. We mentioned it earlier. Talked about the batting average for this lineup tonight against Cueto. They also have 4 home runs. Double play ball here. Gonzalez, Phillips, and that's a double play to end the inning. The Reds come to bat against Roy Oswalt when we return. Knocked in 3 more runs yesterday. He's at first. Brandon Phillips at second. Jay Bruce, a pair of 2-run home runs in the win yesterday. Edwin Encarnacion will bat 6. A ladder third of Ramon Hernandez. Alex Gonzalez, good career numbers against Oswalt. And Johnny Cueto on the mound. And starting at for Houston, their ace without a win this year is right-hander Roy Oswalt.
Oswalt's going to throw you his fastball, and I don't think he's afraid to tell you that he's going to throw it. But he will throw a curveball right around 64 miles an hour and make you look at that and then throw you a fastball that's 93. It looks like it was shot out of a bazooka.
Strike one to Willie Taveras. The numbers are just simply astounding, and there they are. 27 starts, 24 decisions. A 23-1 win-loss record with an ERA of under 2.5. It is absolutely staggering that one pitcher who faces a team inside his division with such frequency has complete and utter domination of another team.
You got to have some good guys behind you, but he's pitched a heck of ball games.
Into foul ground. Great effort by Berkman, but he can't get there. Of course, Cueto and Oswalt locked up this season.
Lance Berkman diving even when there's rocks over there. He's going to take a chance. Get dirty.
And there you see, going back to 2001, it is the most wins by any active pitcher against another team in all of Major League Baseball. There's that breaking ball. One hopper down to third. One away. Take a look at the Ford defense for the Astros. Carlos Lee, Michael Bourne, Hunter Pence, left, center, and right. Blum off to a good start at third base this year. He's seeing most of the playing time with Berkman over at first. Tejada and Matsui up the middle. And Pudge Rodriguez was signed, you may remember, when the Reds played the Astros in a spring training game about halfway through it right after the WBC.
He did so well for Team Puerto Rico, they had to go get him.
Nice play by a fan in the front row of the stands down there. Brought his glove and put it to good use. Well, you think his little boy sitting next to him's proud of Papa right now?
Check this catch out. All right. Didn't even have to go to the two-hand grab, but he was prepared.
Chris Dickerson was not in the lineup yesterday. Lance Nix got a start. Chris just 8 of 42 and has done that a lot. That is now 13 strikeouts in his last 20 at-bats for Chris Dickerson.
Fastball away, fastball away, fastball up. And all Oswalt was doing there was trying to change his eye level. He wasn't even trying to get the out on that pitch. He wanted to get it on the next pitch, which was going to be the breaking ball.
Now Joey Votto. Here's a guy just tearing it up. A 371 batter, 3 home runs, 19 batted in, and man, the damage he has done when you put runners on base. A 531 hitter this year is Votto when there are guys on base.
Scary.
Votto ranks among the league leaders in so many different categories, including batting average, behind only Carlos Beltran and Nick Johnson. He's tied for first with 9 doubles. Has the second most extra base hits, but he will be retired his first time up tonight. Ho hum for Oswalt. 1, 2, 3 in the first. We go to the second, no score. Oswalt has been a slow starter. If you call a 500 record with an ERA of 3.5 slow start. But look at the numbers, Cowboy. June through October. Wow.
Tom, I think a lot of that has to do with the ball club that plays behind him. The Astros are notorious for turning it up late in the season.
Yep.
They are a second-half ball club, and if you're a starting pitcher and you don't get runs early, well, it's going to look like your slow start.
Check swing by Miguel Tejada. They appeal, and no, says Fielding Culbreth down at first. Last year, Oswalt was 0-3 with an ERA of 9 through the first 3 games of 2008. He proceeded to go 17-7 the rest of the way. He is some kind of pitcher, not just against the Reds.
Oh, he is a competitive machine.
That ball hammered into left field by Tejada. Played off the wall by Dickerson. Here comes a throw. Here comes a runner. He is out at second base. What a throw by Dickerson.
That was a great job by Dickerson there. When the ball was hit, he didn't overreact to the baseball. He didn't sprint back to the wall and run into the fence. What he did is he played the ball off the wall. He picked up the second baseman, and he made a perfect one-hop throw.
Boy, Chris needs something good to happen for him just like that, because he's a good kid, and that's a nice play.
That was a big-time play. You can't draw it up any better than that.
Now Hunter Pence will settle in. And the first pitch fastball, strike one. With a new scoreboard out there, that screen in front of it, balls are going to kind of drop immediately once they bounce off of it rather than coming back to the outfield.
And that even made the play even that much better. So he had to go get the baseball. One part of our outfield the Reds have shown this year is they can flat throw the ball when they have to. We've had some outfield assists for them watching the Reds games this year. Jay Bruce. He had one the other day, a full running sprint throwing back to second base.
That was the game, in fact, yesterday you and I did over on the radio side. Of course, George and Chris were over here on the television side. But that's when Yunel Escobar dropped that single into right field, tried to take second base, and Bruce threw him out. And there's strike 3 called to Pence on the outside edge. Strikeout number 2 for Johnny Cueto.
This play by Jay Bruce, he's got to pick it up on the run. He has no time to set up because Escobar is motoring to second base. And not only does he get the ball and make a throw, he makes a perfect throw. You throw a one-hop ball into an infielder, you can't help but make a nice play on that. That's easy to catch and tag.
2 away for the third baseman, Jeff Blum. We mentioned off to a nice start. 333 hitter, 3 runs batted in. Blum got off to a terrible start last year. This time last season was hitting in the low 200s. The Astros made the deal with the Reds late in spring training to bring in Jeff Keppinger. Not sure if they could count on Blum to get it done day in and day out. But so far he's getting a lot of playing time because he's doing what they want him to do.
And Blum is a switch hitter. He can hit from the right side, but I think that they're going to use Keppinger in a lot of times at third base against left-handed pitching just to make sure Keppinger stays sharp for when he comes off the bench.
On the ground, Brandon Phillips down on one knee, knocks it down. Well done by the Gold Glove winning Reds second baseman. A hit, nobody left after an inning and a half, no score. A scoreless game against Roy Oswalt to put him down in order in the first. Here's a guy the Reds need to get started. Both Brandon Phillips and Edwin Encarnacion. Brandon down a strike. Only 10 hits in his first 60 at bats this season. With a home run and 6 runs batted in.
And we've seen a lot of the other guys in the lineup with Ramon Hernandez, Alex Gonzalez. We've seen how well Jay Bruce has started to come around. But you got to have your 4-hole hitter clicking. And right now he's having a tough time. I think he's just in between, not only physically at the plate, but also in his head of what he wants to do. Everybody talks about this game being so easy once you figure it out. That's when you're in trouble. If you think that, you're in big trouble.
Up and in, 3 balls and a strike to Brandon Phillips. Matsui to the outfield grass will throw him out. Nice play by the Houston second baseman.
That was a good AB by Brandon Phillips. He sat there. The only thing he was thinking about was driving the ball the other way. Did he get a base hit? No. Grounded out to the second baseman, but that's a good AB and a good start for him.
So 4 up and 4 down to begin the night for Oswalt, and here's Jay Bruce. Batting average up to 286, 5 home runs, 2 of which came in the game yesterday, and 13 runs batted in. He's down a strike.
Fastball up. Jay Bruce shoots it the other way. Fastball down. Jay Bruce shoots it into right center field into the Sunday. Bruce has the ability, because he's got such great hands, that when the ball is up, he can drive the ball out the other way. When the ball is down, he just flips those wrists over and the ball flies.
He has to fly out of the way of that fastball high and tight. 2-1 to Jay Bruce.
And I think you're going to see that more, Tom. The more that he hits the ball out of the ballpark, the more the veteran pitchers are going to challenge him inside, just like that.
4 of the 5 home runs by Jay have come during this 7-game hitting streak, as well as 8 of his 13 runs batted in. 2-1 delivery. Into center field, hit hard, but it hangs up for Bourne, and they're 2 away in the inning. Well, you take a look at that new Toyota Tundra out in left center field. If a Reds player hits this Tundra sign during tonight's game, Christina Stutter from Union, Kentucky, over in the Commonwealth, will win that Tundra. Register for your chance to win during an upcoming game at your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealer. So you can either hit the Tundra or the Toyota Tundra sign in between the tall stacks in right center field. And I'm told that if there's a dent in that truck, that Christina, if you win it, go get it to the body shop before you drive it away.
If somebody hits that truck from home plate. Well, never mind. I was going to say.
Only one right-handed hitter, from what I'm told, and I wasn't here during the Willie Mo Pena years, but I was told that he is the only Reds right-handed batter that could reach that Toyota Tundra. Reds batter. Big Mark McGwire could have gotten out there.
Maybe.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
a long way.
Oh, yeah.
I'm taking the sign.
2 Hopper, 2 Tejada. And Oswalt at it again. He's faced 6, retired 6. End of 2, still scoreless. Family section here at Great American Ballpark. No alcohol permitted. Field level seating. It's a great place for your next family outing. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS. That's 381-REDS. Or log on to reds.com. No runs, 2 hits, a man left for Houston. No runs, no hits. Nobody is reached for the Reds against Oswalt. 8, 9, and 1 in the batting order. Ivan Rodriguez, Roy Oswalt, and then Kaz Matsui. What a career it's been for Ivan Rodriguez. Ranks 3rd all time in games played as a catcher.
He's going to break that this year.
Yep.
He will, unless something tragic happens before he plays in those 36 games, he's going to own that record.
Yeah, 36 games away from surpassing Carlton Fisk for first place. MVP, a batting champion. He has just had a great career. Look at those numbers. When you think about all the demands at that position this year, Ivan Rodriguez made his 18th consecutive opening day start. The longest streak among all active major league position players. Astounding, isn't it?
I tell you, I played with him, and he's got some drive that comes from inside him, and I don't know how you don't teach that to somebody. That comes with the package. 18,341 innings caught. He won't even talk to you about retirement.
Why should he?
You bring that up, you're liable to get smoked.
3-2 pitch, swung on and fouled out of play. Of course, he had so many great years, as you mentioned, Jeff, in Texas. Won a World Series ring with the Florida Marlins in 2003.
What amazes me is that he still runs well. He still throws well and moves well behind the plate. The only thing that he's lost anything on is his bat speed. That's it. And I don't know if that's physical or if that's his eyes, or, I mean, everybody changes as they get older. But you look at Pudge and you think, guy's only got about 2%, body fat on him. He's still built and still strong.
8th pitch of this at bat, and it's lined hard into right field. Jay Bruce makes a nice catch, reaching up above his head. That ball hit hard by Ivan Rodriguez. Jay got a good jump on it and brought it home.
That's the only way that he is going to catch this ball. This ball is middle away, and Jay gets a good jump and has to lunge for it right at the last second. If you look at it on ground speed for Jay Bruce, I'm not going to say he's a fast guy, but when you look at him and the way he moves in the outfield, he covers a lot of ground when the ball's in the air. And the reason that he covers a lot of ground is he gets a tremendous break on the ball. I mean, he's going to end up starting a good 20 feet ahead of where he was.
Two 2-0 on the pitcher, Roy Oswalt. You make that kind of comment about the speed and where you would be if they had a stopwatch on you. It's reminiscent. You hear a lot of the same analogies about a linebacker in football. He doesn't run all that fast, but every time you turn around, he's tackling somebody 2 yards off the ball.
Right.
Ground ball. Phillips with time. 2 away in the inning.
Speaking of coverage, they don't give that gold glove away. A lot of times this ball right here that's right back up the middle, that is a base hit. With Brandon Phillips, that's an easy backhand and just an afternoon flip to first base.
Two away in the inning, and now back to the leadoff man, Kaz Matsui, who looked at strike 3 his first time up.
I look at this Astro lineup, Tom, and I think to myself, sooner or later, they're going to hurt somebody. They may not pitch that well, but they're going to hurt somebody with this lineup. They're going to start scoring some runs. And when they do, I feel sorry for whoever they're playing, and I'm glad we're playing them early.
Well, that's really the interesting part about this Houston team so far, as most felt they would be pitching short. That one banged into right field, a base hit by Matsui, and that they would score a ton of runs. But so far through the first 19 games, they've gotten pretty good starting pitching, at least over the last couple of weeks after a bad first week to begin the year. But they just have not hit. They are hitting some balls hard tonight. They had the double by Bourne in the opening inning. Tejada slammed one off the wall and was thrown out at second base in the second. Blum hit a ball very hard to Brandon Phillips to end that inning. Here in the third, Rodriguez lines out to right. And now a line drive single with two away by Matsui.
That pitch right there is what has made the difference for Johnny Cueto. Being able to throw a breaking ball at 1-0 that crosses the plate for a strike. You can keep any hitter, even the greatest hitters, off balance by being able to throw a short breaking ball for a strike.
Came back with a fastball up and in. All right, Cowboy, if you're on the mound, you threw a fastball away behind in the count, or even in the count, I think, with Bourne his first time up. And he shot that thing into left field for a double. Now, when he's coming back up there this time around, do you make an adjustment or stay with your game plan?
I'm going to make him hit a breaking ball. There it is.
There it is. And it should in the inning. And will. Double pump there by Phillips, waiting on Votto. Middle of the third. Still a scoreless game. See the Tigers taking on those Indians, or the Mets and the Phillies. Fox Saturday Baseball returns this week, 3:30 Eastern, following This Week in Baseball at 3 o'clock on Fox. In there, strike two, Ramon Hernandez. We begin the bottom of the third in a scoreless game. The batting average beginning to creep up for Hernandez. 255 with a home run. Of course, the Astros remember that home run. Boy, do they remember that home run. That was a game that Oswald started against Cueto in Houston.
Valverde remembers it.
after Oswalt gave him 6 shutout innings. Houston carried a 1-0 lead into the ninth with their closer, Mr. Valverde, on the mound. And Hernandez hit a 2-run home run to the opposite field in a 2-1 win.
Hunter Pence was running back to the fence. He turned around like, where'd the ball go? Hey, hey. Game's over.
Oswalt wanted the call on the fastball and didn't get it. Told you Brian O'Nora working behind the plate, fielding Culbert at first. Kevin Causey at second, and Jim Wolf is at third. Count even 2-2 on Hernandez, to be followed by Alex Gonzalez and then Johnny Cueto. Oswalt got away with one right there, a hanging breaking ball up in the strike zone, and Ramon Hernandez fouled it straight back.
That's one pitch that Hernandez can hit out of the ballpark. He's the guy that tries to shoot the ball the other way no matter what.
2 Hopper, 2 Tejada, 1 away. Well, when the Reds get it done with an RBI this year, that means another $25 from Shakely goes to the Reds Community Fund. Shakely, it's done. RBIs have been few and far between for the Reds through the years against Roy Oswalt. Mr. Brantley, they have to change that.
He's going to throw fastballs, and he's going to keep the ball down in the strike zone. If you try to continue to pull him, you're going to hit the ball to the infielders all day long. You have to take Roy Oswalt and shoot him the other way. If you don't, he'll eat you alive.
5 of the first 7 outs, ground ball outs. Throw in a strikeout, and the hardest hit ball was by Jay Bruce, that liner into center. And Oswalt ahead Alex Gonzalez, 0-2. Not only do the Astros have a 9-game winning streak in this ballpark, they have won 15 of the last 16 at Great American Ballpark. You try to pull it, you set it, slow roller, and the third baseman made a mistake. That'll be scored, an infield hit on a ball it looked like Blum should have had.
Tejada called off Jeff Blum right at the last second. He pulled the glove up thinking that Tejada was going to be able to make the play. Tejada did field the ball, but he bobbled it when he got it up in the top of his hand. Well, that's bad communication right there.
Now Johnny Cueto. He squares, puts down the bunt, foul.
You know, everybody talks about Micah Owings and him coming off the bench and how well he's hitting. He's hitting 400 and hits well when he pitches. Well, what about Cueto? Just hitting 400, man. I mean, he just does it in a different way. Sometimes you don't have to play long ball. You can play small ball. And that's what Johnny Cueto does.
He had both of his hits in that last game against the Cubbies. And that was after getting 2 hits all of last season. 2 for 45 as a hitter last year.
That was all in jest. Johnny does not handle the bat quite like Mike Owings, but it was awful fun watching him put 2 hits together.
Indeed.
One flare down the right field line and then that push bunt helping his own cause. Now that guy right there, he can hit.
Well, what a great day Micah Owings had yesterday. A win over Atlanta. First time he had won a game in the big league since May of last season. This should be a double play. And it is to retire the side. And Pudge Rodriguez is hurt.
That had to hurt. But he's laughing now. Sniper.
That's what we were talking about earlier, though, Jeff. I mean, you look at a play like that and you think of how many hundreds, if not thousands of times in the over 18,000 innings that he has caught in his career. Yet on opening day for 18 consecutive years, he has been in a major league lineup.
It's amazing. It really is. But I'm telling you, a lot of that has to do with what comes from the inside of Pudge, and that is he wants to compete and he wants to be the best. His desire is to be the best catcher, not that his playing right now or that maybe was around in a certain decade. He wants to be the best catcher ever.
I mean, there are a lot of people that would scoff at you when you throw his name in there just because, you know, some of the others. I mean, started right here in our town in Reds history with Johnny Bench, Yogi Berra, Roy Campanella before his tragic accident, which of course left him in a wheelchair. And, you know, then you get into the offensive prowess of a guy like Mike Piazza. But from an all-around standpoint, both offensively and defensively, Rodriguez's name has to very much be right in that mix.
Well, he's won more Gold Gloves than any other catcher. He's made the All-Star team. Goodness, I don't know how many times, but I know it's a bunch. And his longevity has got to play a huge factor there. The problem that hurts him, though, Tom, is championships. I know he did have the championship in Florida, but that's the only one. And that guy right there, Johnny Be Good, he got a few on his list. At least two that I know of.
Rodriguez has been in the All-Star game 14 times and won those 13 Gold Gloves. In fact, he's the only player ever, as it's 2-2 to Burton. And there's strike three called on the outside corner. But just to finish up that thought, he's the only player in history with at least 13 Gold Gloves and a lifetime batting average of over 300. The only one ever.
I think when you start talking about best player ever at a certain position, there's going to be so much presumption and so much artillery to argue with. I don't know that you can ever get a cut and dried opinion. But Hall of Fame, he'll be right up there with the rest of them.
Oh, yeah. 0-1 to Carlos Lee. Cueto with 3 strikeouts in the game. He's allowed 3 hits, walked a batter. Let's take a look quickly at our Aflac trivia question. Who was the last Red to steal home? Of course, what an exciting play that was last night in Boston's victory over the New York Yankees, when Mr. Ellsbury stole home off Andy Pettitte.
Yeah, I was thinking of another base. I remember when Lou stole third and took it in, but that's not home. I was thinking of something else.
Well, that brings us to our text poll tonight. What is the most exciting play in baseball? Of course, forgive our ignorance, hitting for the cycle is more than one play. An inside the park home run, a grand slam, or the steal of home. Text keyword vote plus the number of your choice to 37664. Standard text rates do apply.
And I think when they're talking about hitting for the cycle, it's that last at bat after you've gotten the 3 other hits, the single, the double, the triple, and now you have to have the home run. The excitement that goes into that last play, whether it's a single or a triple or whatever it may be.
Well, I don't know about pure excitement, as that one is in the air to straightaway center field, and Taveras will come in to get it. But I know one thing: if I'm a fan, if I'm the manager, if I'm a player, there's only one of those. It is a runaway winner because my team puts a 4 spot on the board. That's all I know, Cowboy. And if it's about winning, give me the 4 spot.
I like the number 2, the inside the park home run with the bases loaded. I just add mine in there. How do you like mine now?
good stuff. Yeah, that stolen base of home last night, though, really.
It's a surprise play.
It was the only play of that entire game that I saw last night. Just happened to catch a little bit of luck. And got the kids to bed, turned on that TV, and there was the steal of home. That one ripped into left center field. Nice play by Dickerson to cut it off, and he'll hold Tejada this time to a single. Very well done by Chris Dickerson. Wow, what a play that was. Look, he got Tejada the first time.
Look at Tejada looking out there. He's raising his hands up like, what are you doing out there? Like he's taking bread off his table. Nice job by Dickerson. That's a pure hustle play, Tom, by Dickerson.
Grounded down to Encarnacion off his glove, and everybody's safe. That'll be an error on Edwin Encarnacion.
You got to move your feet, not your hands. Your feet are what help you make the play. You're going to catch the ball with your glove, obviously. But if your feet don't move quickly and get your body into position, you're going to miss the ball every time.
I misspoke. That is scored an infield hit.
Well, that is not an infield hit. That's an error. Encarnacion should have made that play. As most third basemen would tell you, that play is not a tough play to make.
Now Jeff Blum, and all of a sudden after two were out, and I mean two of the big hitters in this lineup, Berkman and Lee. You get a single by Tejada, an infield hit by Pence. And in this scoreless game with Oswalt and his track record against the Reds on the mound here tonight, these situations are always important, but they become almost critical.
Johnny Cueto's throwing the ball well, and he's competing well. I think he's going to be all right here.
Roller down to Votto. He will feed Cueto at the bag, and that is that, so Cueto takes care of business. Still no score. Here's a special look at what will be one of the biggest films of the summer, X-Men Origins Wolverines, in theaters May 1. Boy, Oswalt climbs the hill. The Reds send the top of the order up against him here in the fourth in a scoreless game. Taveras lays down the bunt. Rodriguez throws and got him. What a play by Pudge Rodriguez. Maybe if that thing's another 1.5 feet, 2 feet out further towards the mound, it's a bunt hit.
Let's see. Let's try to hit him in the leg. and then let's bunt on him. And you're right, Tom. If that ball is another foot, the speed of Taveras helps him make that into a base hit. But that just shows you how much agility that Pudge has in him, and he's still got all these games. He threw a laser down there, sidearm.
One gone for Dickerson, who struck out his first time up. Chris has made a couple of excellent plays in the field tonight. In fact, outstanding plays in the field. Dusty Baker sat down with Dickerson before the game yesterday. He was not in the lineup, as we mentioned, and I just reminded him to relax. And a soft liner into right field, a base hit. So maybe the worm has turned for Mr. Dickerson here tonight. You never know. To answer our Aflac trivia question, who was the last Red to steal home? On the back end of a double steal, Adam Dunn. You'd have lost a lot of money on that guess. Am I right about that, Cowboy?
You are right.
No, you're supposed to say yes, sir.
Yeah, it hurt. They must have thrown the ball away.
Votto rolls over one. Throw down, and Tejada dropped it, and the runner is safe, and Dickerson shaken up. He went sliding into what looked like Tejada's knee. And that'll be an error on Tejada, and hopefully Chris is okay. It looked like Tejada took a blow. Maybe they collided heads. Yep.
They did. Yes, they did. Wow. As Tejada reached down to get the baseball, it looked almost like a football play. Ouch.
Play a couple of boxers in between rounds.
Exactly. Got both corners out there checking them out.
I mean, that's getting your bell rung for both of those guys right now.
Well, the thing about it is when you have it in slow motion like this, you don't really get the full effect of how fast both of these players were moving. Tejada's coming across the bag as if he's going for a double play. I mean, he's in full speed. He's running, and the same goes for Dickerson. Look how fast this is going. Look how fast this is happening. I mean, you can't hit your head together any harder at that point. And even though Dickerson was sliding on the play, that slide doesn't slow you down a whole bunch. Not at that part of the slide. At least they're both smiling. That's a good thing.
Cowboy, you ever remember bumping heads with another player out there on the field? I'm sure you probably, bumped heads with a steer every now and again when you're out there on the range. But how about in the game?
Only my hand on a head. It's the only thing I remember. I'm serious. Got through with the guy, and he came out there, and I had to take a swing at him. I just happened to connect. Blind squirrel. Almost broke my thumb.
Well, both are okay. And let's see if the Reds can take advantage of that error. Charge to Miguel Tejada. Talked about Dickerson needing something good to happen. Here's another guy that could use something good to have happen to him. Brandon Phillips down a strike.
You can be assured that he will see the best of Roy Oswalt here. There will be no give in. Phillips needs to go exactly with the same game plan he had last time. Try to shoot the ball into that right center field gap.
1-1 on Brandon Phillips. 2 on. And now it's 0-2. Well, the bottom fell out of that pitch from Oswalt.
See, this is a pitch that you don't see from Oswalt unless he's in trouble. The slider starts fastball. You think fastball. Last second, oh, that's not a fastball. Good hard slider from Oswalt.
We're talking about Adam Dunn stealing home. Here's the back end of a double steal. Went blasting into the catcher and was safe. Is that against Montreal? Can't tell that uniform. Oh, it's the Brewers, I think. Wow. 0-2 on Phillips. The fastball is up.
Dunn running right over that guy.
Man, you get hit by that guy.
Remember, he was going full speed there, too.
Two on, 1 out. No score in the game. And a breaking ball away to Brandon Phillips evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, with a guy struggling at the plate, granted he is your number 4 hitter in the lineup. But if you had any thoughts of entertaining starting the runners, this would be the pitch to do it. Oswalt is looking for the put away on the 2-2 count. Probably not going to see it. But oftentimes when a guy is struggling, a manager might think about it no matter where he hits in a lineup.
I think if you did not have Jay Bruce batting behind him, yes, you would probably see that. But the strikeout, throw him out right here would be deadly.
And it's going to be a double play instead. So we go to the 5th inning, still no score. Family fun at JTM. And by Jeep, you talk, we listen. It's a new day. Have fun out there. Jeep. Hey, speaking of Northern Kentucky, before we begin the 5th, the head baseball coach over at Dixie Heights, Chris Maxwell, we understand, got his 500th win as the head coach at Dixie Heights High earlier today. They beat Holy Cross 4-3. So Chris Maxwell, congratulations. Man, that is a pile of wins.
It's a pile of wins no matter where you are.
Rodriguez, Oswalt, and Matsui here in the Houston 5th inning of a scoreless game. Reds had 2 on with 1 out in the 4th inning, but a double play ends the threat.
Yeah, their 26th double play of the season. That's number 1 in the big leagues.
In the air at Willie Taveras, and Rodriguez retired. Well, let's take a Corona timeout. Official sponsor of the timeout, and get to know Joey Votto. We know he hails from Canada. The same high school as Canadian Prime Minister Stephen Harper. How about that? Ridgeview Collegiate Institute. Boy, it sounds like you got to be smart to go there, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's some big words.
Little flare by Oswalt, and it falls in, a base hit. Well, he's a one-out base runner here in the Houston fifth inning.
I think actually that Jay Bruce would have dove for this ball if he didn't see Taveras out of the corner of his eye. They both get such great jumps on the ball, and they were both right in that area right at the same time. And I think one of them was afraid they were going to run into the other.
So now Matsui, the batter, who is 1 for 2. He struck out leading off the game, and then singled by Votto into right field in the third. Strike one. Johnny Cueto has thrown 73 pitches in the game. He's allowed 6 base hits, struck out 3, and walked only 1. The Astros have had a runner on base in each of the first 5 innings. 1-1 on Matsui.
Seems like Cueto's going more to the two-seamer against Matsui this time around instead of the four-seamer. First time up, he paralyzed him with the four-seamer down and away. Then he got a base hit off of it.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Missed away again, running the count full. One on, one out, no score in the 5th inning. Cueto shaking off Hernandez. Now okay's a sign. And he struck him out for the 2nd time in the game. Foul tip into the mid of Ramon Hernandez.
That is
4 strikeouts for Cueto.
That is a big time pitch right there. A backdoor breaking ball right on the outside corner. And Matsui swings right over the top of it. Last thing Matsui's thinking right there, breaking ball, and he got it. Big time pitch.
Well, 1 more out to go here in the 5th inning. It's Michael Bourne. And a breaking ball, and the first pitch is on the outside corner, a strike. Wow.
That was the big adjustment that Cueto made in his last start. The only way that you can do that, Tom, is you have to be able to get on top of the breaking ball to throw it over the plate for a strike. If your arm drags any at all, you have no finger control whatsoever. He shortened up that little step that he takes right before he goes to the pivot foot. He gets his arm right on top of the baseball, and he darts that breaking ball right where he wants it.
1-1 to Bourne, and a breaking ball missed in. This is the man Cueto clearly wants to come after and attack in this inning, knowing that, yes, Lance Berkman's in a terrible slump. He's a batter on deck. Nonetheless, it's still Lance Berkman.
And that's the time that Lance Berkman is going to break out of this thing, is when he has to concentrate on just making contact with the baseball and driving in a run instead of just trying to get a hit. Great pitch.
And Cueto takes care of business hard down and in. Back-to-back strikeouts, giving him 5 in the game, middle of the 5th in Cincinnati. The Astros and the Reds scoreless. fun run for kids. Sign up now at Reds.com/5K or visit the Reds Community Fund booth at Great American Ballpark. Cowboy, will you be running in that 5K?
Chances are slim. Slim or not. Slim's fishing.
So no chance that you. How about walking that 5K?
No. I'll be at home. But I'll watch it on TV if it's on there.
Jay Bruce to lead things off against Roy Oswalt here in the bottom of the 5th inning. First pitch swinging, got jammed with a fastball, and he's out. Going into play tonight, let's take a look at the standings in the National League Central Division, brought to you by Honda. The Cardinals share the best record in the National League with the Dodgers at 13-6. They open a series tonight down in Atlanta. Pirates off to a good start. 4 games over 500. Pirates early on in the first inning, a 2-0 lead at Milwaukee tonight. And then the Reds have won 10 of their first 18. Lazy fly ball by Encarnacion, and there are 2 out in the inning. Oswalt has thrown 2 pitches to get 2 outs here in the bottom of the 5th inning. 2 of them.
Johnny Cueto has had to battle all night long, which we knew was going to happen, and that's exactly what has to happen when you're facing a pitcher like Oswalt, who is pitch efficient and can move his fastball on both sides of the plate within a hair of the corners.
Barely even a whisper from the Reds offensively again against Oswalt. They had an infield hit on just a bad communication play when Gonzalez reached back in the 3rd inning. 0-2 now on Hernandez. Then in the 4th inning, a single to right by Dickerson. They caught a break when Votto hit a ground ball down to Berkman, and on his throw to Tejada dropped it to put 2 on. And the Reds were hoping that Brandon Phillips could give him a lead, and he bounced into an inning-ending double play.
And you have to know that with a 23-1 record, Roy Oswalt comes into this ballpark against this team, or he could probably pitch against this team anywhere and have great confidence. And confidence for a pitcher of his magnitude, sometimes that's all you need.
Well, you look at some of the numbers Oswalt has put up through his first 4 starts this season. Now, you know he's a much better pitcher than that. This guy's won more games than any other starting pitcher in the major leagues going back to 01. All of them, everybody. But the bottom line is, so far in 25 innings coming into this game, as Hernandez backs out, Oswalt had allowed 29 hits, 6 of which were home runs.
The only games that he's pitched well were the game that he pitched against the Reds at their place, and he had one other game besides the game today.
3-2 to Hernandez. He's showing you some of that veteran savviness, if you will, by stepping out the pitch before.
You and I were just talking about that. The only way that you can get to Oswalt is shake him up out of his game. You step out of the box. You call timeout.
And he ends up walking.
Look what happened.
You and I were talking about that 3 innings ago. You know, when you got a guy like this, I mean, this isn't ownership. It's beyond ownership. At 23-1.
That's why on that play, and it's easy to say this now that he's hit into the double play, but you got runners at first and second base, and you got your 4-hole hitter at the plate. You can hit and run. You can do anything. Put any sign on. Put the bunt and run sign on, for that matter. That doesn't matter, because you've got to do something different than what you've been doing for the last 5 years.
Breaking ball to Alex Gonzalez is in near a strike. And there are a lot of people out there watching that, you know, when we brought up the idea of what you think about hitting and running with Phillips at the plate. Well, he's your cleanup hitter, and a lot of people are saying, you got to be kidding me. Well, sometimes, as the old cliche goes, Desperate times call for desperate measures. And if you keep on doing the same thing you've been doing since 2001, then you'll keep on doing the same thing you've been doing since 2001.
It's called losing.
Fly ball straight away center field. And this will end the inning. 1 walk, 1 left. We've played 5 pitchers duel supreme tonight. Cueto and Oswalt.
Park is a good ballpark, or a good day, I should say.
Well, you are rusty.
I am a little rusty, guys. Hey, they've been dressing up this ballpark. It was a beautiful thing to come back and see. And remember last year where they would hang the division leaders, some banners out here in the outfield? Well, now those are electronic, like many of the other scoreboard editions here. And as you can see, the Reds are chasing the Cardinals right now. But another part of dressing this up, and all of these scoreboards and electronic figures are all meshed together, and when they're doing the same thing, it is impressive in this ballpark to see these strips of electronic boards around this stadium. Guys, they've done a great job of dressing this place up.
You know, Jim, you're 100% correct. I mean, you just cannot say enough about what the Reds organization has done to try and make the fan experience, when they pay their hard-earned money, to make it better and better and better and better.
And the scoreboard, let's face it, it was below. Oh, there's a deep shot, Tom.
Into deep left field, and look who's back in town, Lance Berkman. He continues to add to his career totals, which add up to the most damage of any player that has come into this city wearing any other uniform. For Lance Berkman, that is his 20th home run at Great American Ballpark.
Looks like a fastball, a two-seam fastball, and it stays just a tad above the mitt. Not a bad pitch, but to a guy who likes to go that way, which Berkman does on a fastball, he loved it.
This one a bit off the end of the bat will be played by the new left fielder Lance Nix, who replaces the injured Chris Dickerson. For those of you just joining us, Dickerson running first to second back in the 4th inning, went sliding into Miguel Tejada, who dropped the ball, and the two had their heads collide, and both were shaken up.
When you see the whiplash on Tejada's head, you know that that was a little bit more to it than just a bumping of the noggins.
Tejada does remain in the game, and he bats here, 2 for 2 in the game. Ironic it would be those two players that collide with one another. Tejada's first at bat tonight. He lined one off the left field wall. Dickerson threw him out at second base. The next time that Tejada got a base hit was a rocket in the left center, and Dickerson held him to a single. In the dirt, picked out of there nicely by Votto for the second out of the inning.
Tom Votto did a great job by squeezing that baseball after he had picked it. When he came up with it, the ball was still bobbling just a tad in the glove, and he squeezed it tight for the umpire and showed it to him. Watch this as it comes up. It's shaking around just a little bit, and he shows it right to the umpire. That's a great job by Votto.
Houston leading 1-0, and here's Hunter Pence. He pops it up. It is playable for who? Votto comes racing down the line, and that will end the inning. But Berkman, his 20th career home run in this ballpark, makes it 1-0.
Right here in the bottom of his rotation, right before he kicks that leg up, he gets on top of the baseball. You can see the arm really getting up there. You get on top of the ball, you get that. It allows Berkman to get to the bottom of the ball and lift it.
Coors Light Freeze Cam brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light.
This game is so different when you get up there by home plate. An inch can make that much difference in how you release the baseball, especially with a great hitter like Berkman at the plate, slump or no slump.
And 2 on Johnny Cueto, bounced into a double play his first time up, taken high, 1 ball and 2 strikes. 2 hits for the Reds in the game. One an infield hit by Alex Gonzalez in the 3rd, the other a base hit in the right by Dickerson, who's no longer in the game, in the 4th. Breaking ball is strike 3 called. The second of the game for Oswalt. Follow Fox Sports Ohio on Twitter.com/Fox Sports OH. Jeff Brantley, are you doing some twittering now that you've kind of come into the...
I have a Twitter account, but I've never Twittered.
Really?
I've never tweeted. But I've got a lot of peeps.
I understand that Jim Day is doing a lot of twittering. You know, the games that you do for Fox Sports Ohio, I think it'd be great if you started tweeting a little bit. I mean, there would be a lot of people following you, undoubtedly. I want to know what's going to happen.
That's not how you say it. You don't say a lot of people following you. You say, I've got a lot of peeps. That means people following.
Really?
Yeah.
That's the
I've got a lot
jargon?
of peeps. I told you.
Okay,
earlier.
peeps.
I've got a lot of
All
peeps.
right, I'm sorry. All right. Fly ball, right center field. Who wants it? Michael Bourne, the call and the catch, and they're 2 away in the inning. I think that would be a very, very popular part of our telecast here on Fox Sports Ohio.
I'll be honest with you, Tom. I may know the jargon, but I haven't figured out how to do it yet. I don't know how to do it. I've got a lot of people following me. I've got a lot of peeps, like I said, and I have a Twitter account, but I don't know how to put something on there that they can follow.
Lance Nix bats for the first time. Well, Jim Day could show you how to do it. You know, you guys maybe get together for breakfast or something, lunch.
I ain't getting breakfast. That's early. I'm tired.
1-0 to Nix, and it's swung on and fouled out of play. All right,
get a late lunch.
All right, maybe a late lunch, and he could walk you through Twittering.
Now we're talking my language.
All right. I'm going to try to set that up for you guys when we're on the road. Maybe down in Florida next week. 2-1 to Nix, who hit the ball so hard, getting a rare start yesterday. He came up with the bases loaded in the 5th inning yesterday and just hit a rocket into right field that was caught. He lined out to second his final time up, but struck the ball very well 3 of the 4 at bats. 2-2 the count. Roy Oswalt. Can the Reds find a way to break through against a pitcher who has a 23-1 record career against him? 23-1.
Well, it's awfully hard to pitch much better than what Cueto has so far.
And yet he's on the short end of a 1-0 game. Well, you'd love to have Nick somehow, some way, find a way to get aboard and give Votto a shot at it in a 1-run game. Nick's hanging around. That breaking ball fooled him badly, but he does make contact to stay alive.
This kid right here will battle you a little bit now. I saw him in spring training. Lance Nix. This is after seeing a 92-mile-an-hour fastball. You could see that front foot stutter step just a tad, but even though his foot started to move forward, he kept his hands back. You keep your hands back, you could still fight that ball off, and that's what he did.
Well, he had a good rip at a fastball right there and fouled it straight back.
Vicious. Watch Lance Nix. You see that head on the ball. High release with the bat. He's got some power too. The ball flat jumps off his bat.
2-2 again. Breaking ball served into left field. It is a base hit and rolls by Carlos Lee. Here comes Nix, and he will slide in with a double.
He's a player. He was the #1 prospect in Texas when he first came up to the big leagues. And he was hitting like he was on fire. Just now getting back healthy and getting an opportunity to get some playing time here in Cincinnati.
It was 5 years ago when Nix was just barely over 21 that he was an everyday player for the Rangers in the big leagues. Then in 2004 went crashing into an outfield wall, just shattering the shoulder. And like you said, it's been a long time getting back to full strength.
I mean, he's second on this club in doubles to Votto, and he's a pinch hitter. I mean, he's only got 2 starts.
Well, now an interesting decision here for Roy Oswalt. You've got the best hitter on the Reds team with a base open. You've got a struggling hitter in the on-deck circle. I mean, do you think about making sure you give Votto not much to hit in this at bat, even though you'd be putting the tying or the go-ahead run on base? This guy's hitting .500 with runners in scoring position. .500.
Oswalt is not a big back-down guy or pitch-around guy. They've tried to get him to do it in the past, and he said no. I think he's just going to go after Votto.
Well, They got Votto to chase ball 2 right there. 1 ball and 1 strike. Most RBIs in Reds history through the first 18 games of the season. Tony Perez, Davey Concepcion, and then Joey Votto here in 09. 1-1 to Votto is low. And it looks like, I mean, at least through the first 3 pitches, that they're going to have Votto try and get himself out.
Exactly.
Rather than getting a hitter's pitch.
That pitch that Votto swung at that was up in the strike zone was 94 miles an hour. The only thing you can do that is hit it straight up, as in a silo fly ball.
2-1 to Votto. Tying run at second. Threw a fastball right down to Can. He challenged him there on 2-1. 94 miles per hour.
Once the pitcher knows that he can get the ball by you, as he saw earlier in the count, a guy like Oswalt, that adrenaline starts churning, that belly starts boiling, and here he comes. Wouldn't surprise me to see that same pitch again right here.
2-2. Came with a breaking ball, and Votto able to stay away from it. He's thrown him 1 pitch to hit in this at bat through 5 pitches. All right, Mr. Brantley, is he coming back with old number 1, 3-2?
Fastball.
They want to talk about it. There's a big at bat in this game right here.
See, Pudge wants to tell him, look, let's throw a fastball up. If he chases it, he's out. If he doesn't, we'll get Phillips. And Roy's probably telling him, well, I don't want to do that. I want to strike him out.
Well, you look at that cleanup spot, man. You talk about a hole. Wow. 7 hits all year long from the cleanup spot, and yet the Reds are 2 games over 500.
Imagine how it's going to be when this pitching gets going like we know it will.
Breaking ball into center field, a base hit, and Joey Votto yet again delivers for the Reds. Wow. 20 runs batted in the month of April for Joey Votto.
Everybody in the stadium thinking fastball, and what does he get? The old Uncle Charlie, the hook. If he doesn't swing there, Tom, he struck out. That pitch is going to be a strike. But instead he stays back and smokes it right back up the box.
This kid is something else, man. He is something else.
Clutch. That's what he is. Leader by example on this ball club. You don't have to even tell him.
Brandon Phillips waves through a breaking ball. Well, you go back to 1960. Cincinnati Reds had knocked in 20 or more runs in the month of April. Votto is the 9th player to do it. It's the 11th time that it's happened since 1960.
He's still got a few more games.
Only Albert Pujols, the game's most feared hitter in either league today, has more RBIs among National League players than Joey Votto. 1-1 to Phillips in a 1-1 game. He hammers one into left field, and it is to the wall. Votto on his way to third, and they're going to hold him right there on a double by Phillips.
You love at-bats and times in ball games like this, because this is where a club comes together, where guys start fighting for each other instead of just fighting for themselves. Votto hits the breaking ball up the middle to score the first run, and Phillips finally coming through in the clutch, not worrying about himself or worrying about what's going on with the guys, the other guys wearing the Reds uniform.
Well, now another decision to make for Roy Oswalt. They elected to pitch to Votto rather than take their chances against Phillips. Votto makes him pay with a game-tying hit. Now you have the second hottest hitter in the Reds lineup, left-handed batter Jay Bruce coming up with first base open, a struggling hitter batting behind him. Do they challenge Jay Bruce?
They're going to walk him. And that's the manager's decision. That's not Roy's decision. And that's one of the reasons that Cecil Cooper went out to the mound to tell Roy Oswalt, we're walking this guy. And that's really how you would like to have it done, to be honest with you. If I'm on the mound and the guy's at home plate, I want to pitch to him. Unless you come out and tell me, all right, you're walking. All right, well, I'll walk him. But if I'm pitching to him, I want to get him out.
Well, we talked about Phillips needing to break out of this season-long slump. And certainly the other guy the Reds have to get things turned around like Phillips is Edwin Encarnacion. At batting average at 131, 0 for 2 today. He steps up there in a 1-1 game with the bases loaded and 2 outs here in the 6th inning. And that is a fair ball. Wow. On the very first pitch, a ball hit 1.5 feet in front of the plate, and that's the inning. But when you lean on Joey Votto, he delivers. 1-1 game. Today, plenty of tickets available. The final 2 games of this homestand, both of them will be 7-10 games at night. Well, 381 Reds, or go to Reds.com, and we'll see you down here the next couple of nights. 1-1 game. We open the 7th. Cueto against Oswalt. 1 run, 7 hits for the Astros. 1 run, 5 hits for the Reds. It'll be the bottom part of the batting order. Jeff Blum, Pudge Rodriguez, and Roy Oswalt. Got out of play, and it's 0-2. And Oswalt will bat in the inning. His pitch count is very, very low.
This may be the last inning for Johnny Cueto, but I still believe he has pitched a heck of a ball game.
Cueto due up 3rd when the Reds bat in the bottom of this inning. Of course, the Reds have had to go to their bench already when they brought in Lance Nix, the only left-handed batter off their bench to replace Dickerson.
They've got Arthur Rhodes up in the Reds bullpen now, just in case.
short left field. Nix is there. One away.
The thing that I like, Tom, is I like to watch the young pitchers and really pitchers in general make adjustments as the season goes on or as their career goes on. We have the opportunity to see the same team over and over again. You look at Johnny Cueto from last year, look at him from earlier in this season when things weren't going so well. He's made some adjustments, and now he's not just throwing the baseball. He's pitching, and he's learning to pitch the right way.
Pudge Rodriguez looks at strike one. Well, there is absolutely zero debate. When you look at all the pitchers around baseball, it's not like there are a ton of them 23 and under. I mean, you'd be very hard pressed to find one guy out there you'd take ahead of Cueto. What a play by Gonzalez for the second out of the inning. As smooth as it gets there defensively at short is Alex Gonzalez.
You use your infielders, you keep them on the toes. Here's a breaking ball from Johnny Cueto. It's down in the strike zone. You keep your infielders on their toes when you throw strikes. A guy like Gonzalez, he's going to be on his toes as long as you keep him in the game and you keep the game moving, and you do that by throwing strikes consistently. Cueto's done that tonight.
Oswalt looks at ball one. Straight away center field, backing up on it Taveras, and a 1-2-3 seventh inning for Johnny Cueto, his first 1-2-3 perfect inning of the game. Chrysler game summary. Dick Pohl, a shake of the hand and a big hug for one of his pupils, Johnny Cueto. And boy, there's so much to like about Cueto tonight. And good Lord willing, he stays healthy, Mr. Brantley, for many years to come.
And that's part of why Johnny Cueto is out of this ball game. It's not just about tonight. It's about his next start on down the line.
All right, his spot due up third in the batting order. It'll be Ramon Hernandez to start things, and Alex Gonzalez, and then a pinch hitter. A 1-1 game. We figured it would be this kind of game. Not all the time does it live up to that kind of billing, but tonight it has, with Cueto locking up with Roy Oswalt. Each team breaking through in the sixth.
And Right.
Home run by Berkman, and then an RBI single by Votto after a clutch 2-out double from Lance Nix.
And right now, I believe that team in that first base dugout finally believes that they can beat this guy.
5 strikeouts, only 1 walk. Remember Cueto, the other time against Houston this season, he faced him, he walked 6 and didn't get through the 5th inning. It's now back-to-back games. Johnny Cueto, if you include his last start against the Cubs, where he went 7 innings of 4-hit shutout baseball. So his last 14 innings of work, he has allowed 1 run. A solo home run tonight to Lance Berkman. Three and 2 on Hernandez. Now you may remember Hernandez, his last time up, stepped out before Oswalt delivered a 2-2 pitch, and then Oswalt threw the next 2 out of the strike zone to walk him. So maybe Hernandez has gotten his head a little bit. He's going to get him out. 1 away.
Reds fans, for a great tasting quality meal for your family, pick up a bag of JTM beef or chicken Philly cheesesteaks from your favorite grocer. JTM, food, family, fun.
You could probably knock back 2 or 3 of those later tonight.
Bags?
At least 1 bag. I'm just saying a couple of those Philly cheesesteaks.
I do like Philly cheesesteaks. A lot.
Do you like them around noon or you like them around midnight?
Both.
Alex Gonzalez lines one into center field, a base hit. Hey, by the way, speaking of cheesesteaks, I know our entire TV crew would like to thank the great folks from Penn Station East Coast Subs for feeding our entire multi-award winning television crew before the game tonight. That was very kind, very generous, and I know the crew appreciates it. Of course, you know, when George and Chris are here, Cowboy, unlike you and me, they bring that stuff up to the booth.
Well, let's just be happy to just be getting to do what we're doing.
Amen. Darnell McDonald will bat for the Reds and bat for Johnny Cueto, who goes 7 innings, 7 hits, 1 run. A walk and a strikeout.
I think the expectation of Johnny Cueto was met tonight, and if you're Dusty Baker and Dick Cole, you would like to try to make that one of those things that you do with a young pitcher every time out. Try to make it a quality ball game.
McDonald nearly hit with a fastball. 1 ball and 1 strike. 98 pitches in the game for Johnny Cueto. Darnell McDonald has a couple of pinch hits so far this year. Two balls and a strike. Say, he had a rough opening day, you know, out there, very, very nervous. A 30-year-old rookie, first time he had started on opening day for a major league team. But when they've asked him to do whatever it is they've asked him to do since that game, this guy's done a nice job.
He's been fine. He's a good fastball hitter, and he's not a bad guy to have off the bench. He's got a lot of tools. He can steal a base for you, play all the outfield positions, and he's got a good arm.
Roller foul. The count goes to 2 balls, 2 strikes on Darnell McDonald. Jeff mentioned earlier, Arthur Rhodes was cranking it up in the top of the inning. He's ready to go in the 8th.
And that's why you don't have to push a kid like Johnny Cueto, because you've got 3 veterans down there in that bullpen, Weathers, Rhodes, and Cordero. They're ready to go anytime.
Cueto's sniffing a win if his team can find a way to get a run here in the bottom of the 7th and make it stand. First time all night we see activity in the Houston bullpen. One of their two left-handers down there, Tim Burdack, begins to throw. Unquestionably getting ready for the duo of Nix and Votto should we get that far. 2-2. Hard hit ball at Matsui. There's one. And that's a double play to win the inning. So Cueto cannot get a win tonight. Can his team get a win? We march on to the 8th in a 1-1 game. Visit myCincinnatiHondaDealer.com for current offers. Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati, a 1-1 game. The Astros and the Reds in game 1 of this 3-game series. We'll be at it again tomorrow night, same time right here on Fox Sports Ohio, and the same holds true for Wednesday night. Tickets are available. Come on down to the ballpark. Following Johnny Cueto is left-hander Arthur Rhodes. Can't do it much better than Arthur's done it in a Reds uniform.
No, you can't, Tom. This is going to be his 8th ball game. He's pitched basically an inning every time he's been out there. And it's kind of been a setup duo between he and Weathers. Either he's first or Weathers is first. And tonight it'll be Rhodes stepping out first. Neither has given up a run. And both have pitched in 7 ball games. And now this will be ball game number 8 for Rhodes, keeping the hitters to a .217 batting average.
They turn around Matsui to bat from the right side, and then he'll face Michael Bourne, who is a straight left-handed hitter, and then you force Berkman as well to turn around and hit from the right side.
Arthur Rhodes is all the way on the third base side of the rubber, steps towards the first base line and throws across his body. He really creates an angle as if you were throwing the ball from where Brandon Phillips stands at second base. It's an angle that comes from the side of the mound, and it's very difficult for the hitters to pick up that baseball.
Fly ball towards Jay Bruce and right. He'll back up shy and then on to the track for the first out here in the 8th inning.
You can watch Arthur Rhodes as he picks up that leg. When he breaks towards home plate, as he drives, he's really creating an angle that comes like he's coming from second base. You can see Phillips in the background there as the ball comes towards home plate.
Now the left-handed batting Michael Bourne, speedy center fielder. Looks at a fastball, strike 1.
You watch Arthur Rhodes. This is Arthur Rhodes' pitching mechanics. He's going to throw the ball, and the ball's almost going to cross that way towards the hitter.
Nice play. 2 away. Arthur Rhodes, 39 years young. And when you're built like this guy's built, that's 39 years young. He goes 6'2", 212 pounds.
Well, you can't stay as healthy as he has, Tom, and pitches in as many ball games as he has without keeping yourself in great condition. He has been around a long time.
Turn around Berkman to bat from the right side, by far his weaker side. This one in the air and playable for Votto. And how about Arthur Rhodes? I mean, the beat goes on. He has had a great first month as a Cincinnati Red. Still a 1-1 game. Leading off the second inning, Miguel Tejada lines one off the wall. Chris Dickerson plays it beautifully. And a P right on the bag to Brandon Phillips to cut down Miguel Tejada. A 1-1 game as the Reds come to bat in the bottom of the 8th inning. Roy Oswalt is out of the game, and now left-hander Tim Burdack will take over. He's had a nice start to this year.
Yes, he has, Tom, and that's one of the reasons that he's in the ball game. 8 ball games now that he's been in. You see the ERA there. The big key for Burdack is that opponent's batting average down around 167. He doesn't give up a whole lot of hits and not a whole lot of free passes.
Well, you don't know if the Reds are going to win this game or lose this game, but what we do know is this. They have gone up against Roy Oswalt twice so far this season. They have scored a grand total of 1 run against him. But the bottom line is Roy Oswalt will not beat the Cincinnati Reds through those first 2 starts. Now you can say, well, come on, give me a break. 13 innings, 1 run. The guy's been dominant. Absolutely true. But he will not win either one of the starts.
And this is the first time in his career, Tom, we talked about this at the beginning of the ball game.
So there is motoring. And again, what an outstanding play made by Pudge Rodriguez.
Well, he had to go a long way to get that ball that time. That ball was not just at the edge of the dirt. That ball was headed out towards the pitcher's mound. And you can see Pudge come out and mask off immediately, picks up the baseball and throws it like a third baseman coming in on a slow roller. That's a do or die play, bare hand, perfect throw, nails it.
Man, can that guy play?
I'm telling you. We were talking about Oswalt earlier, and never in his career has he gone a calendar month with 5 starts and not had at least a win. Tonight was his 5th start in this month. He's not going to have a win.
Pitched well enough to have 2 of them. But, you know, when you're the Reds and this guy has owned you like he has owned you, if you can find a way to win both of the games that he started against you, that one's in the shallow center, a sinking liner, and Nick's retired for the 2nd out. All right, now, guys, listen up. You can't drop the ball on Mother's Day. Show your mom how special she is by bringing her to Great American Ballpark Sunday, May the 10th for Mom's Appreciation Day. The first 10,000 moms in attendance receive a free tote bag thanks to Cons. Get your Mom's Day tickets now. 381 Reds or go to Reds.com. Whatever you do, don't drop the ball. Here's Joey Votto. Votto got the Reds on the board with a run-scoring single with 2 outs in the 6th inning. After Nick's doubled with 2 outs and nobody on.
And it goes back to what you were saying, Tom. That RBI has given the Reds a chance to win this ball game.
Of the 20 RBIs so far this year for Votto, half of them have come with 2 outs in an inning. There are 2 outs in this inning. 3-0. The way this guy's going right now, if there is one human being that gets the green light 3-0, it is Joey Votto. And he took an excuse me swing into the hole, and he'll get an infield hit out of it. That's when you know you're going good.
Votto knew it was an excuse me swing, and he got out of that box in a hurry. That's as fast as I've seen Votto head down the line. But he knew he had a chance for a hit. The ball goes into the hole, and you see Tejada in the background have to go to the backhand. Couldn't get much on the throw. Burdak's like, you got to be kidding me.
Well, that's going to do it for Burdak. Manager Cecil Cooper comes out to the mound, signals the right-hander Chris Sampson, and it is our skyline called comes your way with host Chris Rose and our good friend Carissa Thompson. The Best Sports Show period weeknights presented by 1-800-SAFE-AUTO. 1-1 game, bottom of the 8th inning. Brandon Phillips coming up against the new Houston pitcher, right-hander Chris Sampson.
Bring in a righty to face Brandon Phillips, and he took a ball off of Roy Oswalt and hit it. One-hopped it up against the wall down there in left field his last time up.
Sampson off to a real good start this season. Allowed 2 runs he has so far in 11 1/3 innings.
He's been in a lot of games, Tom.
Started the year going his first 7 innings of scoreless baseball.
10th ball game. That's pitching more than every other day.
Ball 1 to Phillips. Of course, Sampson is a converted shortstop. In his 4th season now with the Astros.
Got that sinker that he tries to run down and in on the right-handed hitters and get them to hit the ball on the ground.
Go ahead, run it first with 2 outs. 1-0 on Brandon Phillips. Hit hard but foul. Look out down there.
A lot of times, Tom, when you're going bad, you get advice from everybody, and then you think, all right, well, maybe I should try this, maybe I should try that. The best thing for you when things are not going good, you've got to either be big-time aggressive or you've got to back off and be very passive and see a lot of pitches. You've got to go one way or the other, because if you stay in between, you're going to get caught in no man's land.
1-1 on Brandon Phillips. On the outside corner, a strike. Phillips 3 for 11 in his career against Sampson. 2 of the 3 hits are home runs. This will end the inning. 1 hit, 1 left. End of 8. Each team 1 run, each team 7 hits. At $81 million. Buy a ticket today. You can't win if you don't play. Well, the Reds got their closer up, Francisco Cordero, in case they took the lead in the bottom of the 8th. And with Cordero already hot and ready to come in, they're going to bring him in a 1-1 game here in the 9th inning. Arthur Rhodes, a perfect inning in relief of Johnny Cueto, who was outstanding again here tonight. 7 innings of 7-hit, 1-run baseball.
Well, Arthur Rhodes was the only one of the trio at the end of the ball game that we talked about with Weathers, Rhodes, and Cordero that pitched in the Atlanta series. Both Cordero and Weathers have been off since they were in Chicago.
Off the end of the bat. It's going to be a tough play. Can Brandon get there? No, he cannot. A bloop single by Carlos Lee into right field starts the 9th inning for the Astros.
Fastball away. He hits it right off the end of the bat. Big, strong man. Normally that's a pop fly to the first baseman, but on this play, it dumps right out there in front of Jay Bruce in right field.
Jason Smith will come on and run for Carlos Lee. So the go-ahead run aboard to begin the Astros 9th inning. And here's Miguel Tejada. 2 hits and 3 at-bats.
So do you bunt Tejada here with Smith at first base? No way. I wouldn't think so. I'm not bunting Tejada anytime. I want him to hit it over the fence. I'm Cecil Cooper.
Tejada has hit the ball very hard twice in the game tonight. There's ball 1 away. Put that liner off the wall where Chris Dickerson threw him out trying to turn a single into a double. And then he was held to a single on a sliding play on a rocket into left center field made again by Dickerson.
He'd have thrown him out then if he'd have gone to second.
By the way, Dickerson had concussion-like symptoms. We're told that's the reason after that collision with Tejada at second base. Back in the 4th inning, and that's why Chris had to leave the game.
A lot of signs being given by third base coach Dave Clark over there. Not really looking at Tejada as much as he's looking at Smith at first base.
Beat him with a fastball, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Now, Tom, I've seen a lot of swings in my time, but that swing there did not look like he was trying to feather that ball into right field. It looked like he was trying to hit it off of his face on the scoreboard.
One and 2 on Tejada. And a base hit into left field. They try to come in with a fastball, and Tejada still has enough to turn on that.
He didn't get the ball in enough. You look where Hernandez is setting up in. Look where the pitch is. It's right down the heart of the plate, and that's not where you want that pitch when you've got 2 strikes on a man like Tejada. You're going in because he's got great strength on the ball that's on the outside part of the plate.
Well, now would you think about asking Hunter Pence to bunt? Through his entire professional career, he has only had 1 sacrifice bunt, and that was in 2006, and he is not up there to bunt. Boy, I tell you, the game has changed, and how it has changed. First and second, nobody out on the road in a 1-1 game.
Well, I think
this guy's not a home. He does have 4 home runs. Consider the park they play in.
But I think that what Cooper's thinking here is if he does hit the ball on the ground somewhere, the chances of him hitting into a double play are not very big because he's so quick. And I think that's what he's gambling on. Otherwise, you got to bunt. If you got a slow runner there, you have to bunt here.
It's 0-2 now, so all for naught. Of course, Pence has always been a guy, a big prospect coming up through the minor leagues, who was batting in the 3-hole, 4-hole, no matter what team he was playing on. And he stings this ball into right center field, and that's why he didn't bunt. Up against the wall, 1 run scores. The ball was dropped. A second run will score, and Pence all the way to third, and Houston takes a 3-1 lead here in the 9th inning. And there you have it. That's why that guy ain't up there. But
another 0-2 pitch. Runs right back over the heart of the plate for Cordero, and Pence is right on it. Drives it right in the other gap in right center field. Can't say it enough if you ask me. I don't like closers in tie ball games.
That has scored a double and then an error on Jay Bruce. But give Pence a couple of runs batted in. Infield in, a swing and a miss by Blum, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike.
Still nobody out. And now you've got to get somebody ready in a hurry. Because the last thing that you want to have happen is for Cordero to make a bunch of pitches here and not be available tomorrow.
Mighty good numbers for Blum against Cordero. Right now, Francisco ahead at 1 ball and 2 strikes. Down and in. We talked about it at the very beginning of the night. The Astros have won 9 straight games in this ballpark. 9 of them. This will bring in another run. Bruce makes a catch. Tagging and scoring is Pence. It is 4-1 Houston.
One intriguing part of the game that I've never been able to explain, nor do I know that I ever will be able to. Closers and non-save situations, I bet their ERA is over 10. Mine included.
On Pudge Rodriguez. Oh, and 2. Well, the Reds came back against Jose Valverde once this year. Now, granted, that was only a 1-run deficit, but they've done it. And they'll get one more crack at the Astros, and you got to believe it will be their closer in the bottom of the 9th inning.
And the key to that, Tom, is Valverde knows it. And he will pitch a little more careful. Nick Massedup down in the Reds bullpen.
Take a look ahead to the Reds' 9th inning. It'll be Jay Bruce, Edwin Encarnacion, Ramon Hernandez, and obviously they're hoping for more than that. Oh, and 2 on Rodriguez. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Cardinals in the 9th inning, leading in Atlanta 3-2. The Mets beating up the Marlins. Boy, that team's come back to life. Florida, after getting out to an 11-1 start, they're about to lose their 7th straight game. We'll see them on the next road trip. Out of there on strikes is Rodriguez, 2 away in the inning. Washington and Philly in a wild one, 7-7 in the 7th. talked about bringing a closer in a tie game. That was a story tonight in Cleveland, where the Indians and the Red Sox were 0-0 going into the 9th inning. Kerry Wood, the Cleveland closer, came in the game and has given up 3 runs and is now out of the game.
Like I said, I can't explain it. I just know it happens.
And there's a strike. So Sampson is batting here rather than using another pinch hitter. Actually, you can understand this. Pretty shrewd move here, I think, by Cecil Cooper. I mean, why burn a pinch hitter 2 down, nobody on, in case the team should come back? You've still got a couple of bullets down there on your bench.
Well, Sampson used to be a shortstop. He's a pretty good hitter. That gives you the advantage.
The Astros scored 3 in the 9th and lead 4-1. Donato's get 2 single topping extra large bakery pizzas for just $19.99. Tax and delivery extra only at participating Donato's. And by John Deere. Visit your local Cincinnati John Deere dealer today. Darren Erstad takes over in left field. And staying in the game is Chris Sampson to try and nail it down. Of course, he cannot get the save. He's in line right now for a win. But Jose Valverde used the last 3 days. Will not be brought on from the Houston bullpen. He closed out their victory yesterday at home.
And he's had some problems with a calf injury also. He missed a couple of ball games in their Milwaukee series, so that may play a role in this decision.
For the Reds, 5 come from behind wins. Do they have a 6th in them here in the bottom of the 9th inning? Jay Bruce to lead things off. Ball 1 away. Sampson. Retired Brandon Phillips to end the 8th inning. Of course, then it was a 1-1 game. The Astros get 3 in the top of the 9th off the Reds closer Francisco Cordero. Two and 1 to Bruce. J.O. for 2 tonight. Was intentionally walked back in the 6th inning. That is a foul ball off his foot. 2-2.
See the pitch come in and you see the ball directly off of the foot. And then you've also seen that play where the hitter swings and it bounces in the dirt, and the dirt sprays a little shrapnel up on his shoe, and he hops around, and they call it a foul ball anyway.
fires it foul down the first base line. Reds have won one game this year when they trailed at the end of 8. Of course, technically this is 8.5.
Right now, the Reds just need base runners. Any way they can get them on.
And that lone win was against the Houston Astros when Hernandez home run beat Valverde. Grounded down to Berkman, out number 1 in the ninth. Encarnacion had one of the biggest at-bats of this game after the Reds had tied it. On a base hit by Votto in the 6th inning, they loaded the bases for Encarnacion. In fact, they intentionally walked Bruce to get it. Edwin swung on and fouled out of play. Edwin swung at the very first pitch in the at-bat, down around his shins, and hit one about 2 feet in front of the plate. Was tagged out by the catcher. And the Reds are going to have a lot of games like this where they're only putting up 1, 2, max 3 runs unless they can get Phillips and Encarnacion to start knocking in runs. They've knocked in 12 runs between them, batting in the 4-hole and the 6-hole this entire year. 12 RBIs. Swinging a foul ball on a play. Jay Bruce and Joey Votto individually have more RBIs than that duo collectively. And it's not placing all the blame on them. There are other guys in the lineup that haven't hit either. I mean, it's not saying that they're the reason why the offense ranks where it ranks.
But when you're hitting 4th and you're hitting 5th or 6th right in that spot, there's more expected of you. That's just part of the process.
Two and two.
I mean, if you're hitting 8th in your lineup, are you expected to drive in 100 runs? No. If you're hitting leadoff or 2nd, you're not expected to drive in that minute. 3, 4, and 5, yeah.
2 away, and the Reds are down to their final out of the night.
Just a fastball at 88 miles an hour, starts off the plate and runs right back over the outside corner.
Ramon Hernandez, 0 for 2, has drawn a walk. Drives one hard into right center field, and this ball is headed for the wall. And Hernandez keeps the hopes alive with a 2-out double to right center field.
That was within a foot of being a home run. That ball looked like it hit the yellow line out there in right center field. Let's take a look at this. It's right where Hernandez likes the baseball. That was just below the yellow line. But I tell you what, that ball was absolutely hammered. He likes that ball out over the plate where he can drive it the other way.
Well, you need a bloop and a blast, as they like to say.
That's right.
You're down by 3. You're down to your final out. Alex Gonzalez, a couple of hits tonight. That ball pulled a ton down the left field line, but foul.
I think Pudge is going to tell Mr. Sampson to get the ball down and get it outside and stay out there. Make them beat you the other way. Look at the numbers that Ramon Hernandez and Alex Gonzalez have been able to put up lately, both of those guys are starting to swing the bat a lot better than they did early in the season. Alex has got to feel a lot more comfortable at the plate. It's been a long time since he's had an opportunity to play on an everyday basis.
1-1 on Gonzalez. Hernandez out at second. And it's in the air to right field, and this should do it. Game over. Astros win the opener. Count of 4-1. It is their 10th straight win in this ballpark. 10 in a row. They have not lost since September of 2007 at Great American Ballpark.